Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys who don't remember, or you guys are new, or whatever the case is, my name is Chrissy, or Chris as some people call me. And Mondays I normally do Bible studies. I haven't done a Bible study in quite some time, to be actually honest here. My last Bible study was a month ago and I was doing Matthew 7. 2 weeks ago I did my Bible study with me, which I do tend to like to do. And then I did my first ASMR attempt 13 days ago. Just last night, 19 hours ago, I posted Women in Modesty. And, well, some people, I can probably guarantee you, are not going to like what I have to say in that video. Or at least the way I having to word things. But, well, I mean, if I'm being honest, it is just my personal opinion on it and how things and how I view things. So if you guys are curious about women and modesty and how I am going to be changing that to be into my life, oops, I keep forgetting the microphone there, then go ahead and take a look at that, because the next step in my life that I'm trying to do in the upcoming months, it's going to take me a while to do it, but I am going to be starting to buy modest clothing, and I'm going to start dressing like a modest woman. Right now my clothing kind of consists of just these, well, t-shirts, mostly tank tops, and just some things are just not exactly appropriate for Christians to wear. Like I said, an exorcist shirt. Not exactly something to wear that I should be wearing as a devoted Christian and follower of Christ. So go ahead and go take a look at that. Later on today, I'll be posting a more in-depth video of what you can expect in the upcoming future for my videos. Mainly explaining like that video is mainly explaining like this mini. I have not figured out what I'm going to call it yet. It's like basically a self. Oh my gosh, why can I not think of this? It is a video on me and how I'm going to be changing my life to follow more of Christ and to be more focused on Him than what I'm currently doing, because I've been just really stuck in this funk that I'm just not happy with my life. And there's this one specific YouTuber that has really helped me kind of wrap my head around it all, and a lot of my upcoming videos are going to be based off of her videos and what I learned from them and how I'm implementing what I learned from her videos into my life. So stay tuned for that. That is going to be awesome, okay? And just seeing the transformation of how I dress now and how I look versus how I'm going to be looking in, like, say 6 months from now, is going to be mind-blowing. I normally don't wear makeup, and I normally don't even wear dresses. I don't wear shorts and I don't wear skirts really, but I am looking into more modest clothing, and I found this really nice modest dress company where it sells dresses and skirts, and I'm going to be buying a couple of those for my wardrobe, which is going to be, like I said, weird. I don't normally wear dresses. So anyways, so let's go ahead and dive right into today's Bible study without having to dwell too much on that. You can go take a look at that video and it'll give you more information of it. Okay, so I don't read with my glasses on, so alright, so I am going into Genesis 32, and thankfully it is not super long. There's only 32 verses, Now, just a refresher and reminder, I am reading from the ESV version. So if you have a New King James Version, an NIV, any other different version, your wording might be slightly different or slightly off than what mine currently says. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, Jacob fears Esau. I can just there we go. So it says, Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." So he called the name of that place, and forgive me if I butcher this, Mahanayim, which, by the way, I'm just going to tell you right now, it means 2 camps. And Jacob sent messengers before him to, turn the page, to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, instructing him, "Thus you shall say to my lord Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male servants, and female servants. I have sent to tell my lord in order that I may find favor in your sight." And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he is coming to meet you, and there are 400 men with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people who were with him and the flocks and herds and camels into 2 camps, thinking, if Esau comes to the one camp and attacks it, then the camp that is to the left will escape. And Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, return to your country and to your kindred, that I may do you good. I am not worthy of the least of all the deeds of steadfast love and all the faithfulness that you have shown your servant. For with only my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him that he may come and attack me, the mothers with the children. But you said, I will surely do you good and make your offspring as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." So he stayed there that night, and from that he had with him, he took a present for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milking camels and their calves, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. These he handed over to his servants, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, "Pass on ahead of me, and put a space between drove and drove." He instructed the first, "When Esau my brother meets you and asks you, to whom do you belong? Where are you going? And whose are these ahead of you?" We read it. And then you should say, "They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a present sent to my lord Esau, and moreover he is behind us." He likewise instructed the second and the third, and all who followed the drove. "You shall say the same thing to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, moreover your servant Jacob is behind us. For he thought, I may appease him with the present that goes ahead of me, and afterwards I shall see his face. Perhaps he will accept me." So the present passed on ahead of him, and he prayed, and he himself stayed that night in the camp. And then we go into the wrestling with God. The same night he rose and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 children, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He told them and sent them across the stream and everything else he had, and Jacob was left alone. And a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the day has broken." But Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me." And he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." Then he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And there he blessed him. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, "For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered." The sun rose upon him as he passed Peniel, limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the people of Israel do not eat the sinew of the thigh, that is the hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip on the sinew of the thigh. Whew! It's getting warm. Yeah, it's really getting warm right now. I'm right by the window. So this chapter is pretty straightforward, if I might say so myself. Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and just go over it a little bit. Gosh, it is really, really warm. It's supposed to be freaking winter. It's not. All right. Let me adjust this a little bit. Okay. All right. So it goes on for the very beginning of the chapter where it says Jacob was on his way, and an angel of God had met him. Okay. So at this point, obviously, he can actually physically see the angel. And when Jacob said, he said, "This is God's camp." So he was basically calling it Mahan, and like I said, I'm probably butchering it. Mahanaim, like I said, which I already told you, it was 2 camps. And it was because he was a double camp because he wasn't alone. He was just him and the angel, and that's why he called it a double camp. Okay, and then Jacob sent his messenger before her. Okay, and the reason why he wanted to do that is because he hasn't seen his brother in like 20 some years. Okay, the last time he saw his brother was when he stole his brother's blessing when Jacob blessed him. He was supposed to bless Esau, and instead he blessed Jacob instead. And Esau was furious, and his mother Rebecca told him to go to her brother Laban, and he'd been there ever since that point, and he has not seen his brother since then. Okay, which is why he's mentioned that his brother in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, instructing him that you should say to my brother, your servant Jacob, I have sovereigned with Laban and stayed there until now. And then he goes into how many things he has. So he's not trying to boast about the things that he has. He's not trying to flaunt his wealth, okay? He is trying to basically tell him, hey, I have all these things. I don't need anything from you. Okay, he's trying to basically... And he's basically trying to comfort his brother that he's not coming to his brother to ask him for money, to ask him for food. You know how you might have that one friend or that one relative or someone who comes over all the time asking, and you know he's just going to come over and ask for something. He's trying not to be that person. He's trying to say, hey, I have all of this stuff. I'm not asking for anything from you. Okay. He's basically saying at the very end, he says, I have sent to tell my Lord in order that I may find favor in your sight. He's just trying to find favor. He's trying to reconnect and reconcile with his brother at this point. And then his brothers come back, or his messengers come back saying, we have found your brother, or we came to your brother, and he is coming to meet you, and he's bringing 400 men. Okay, and when it says, then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. Okay, now, think of it this way. Okay, if you leave on bad terms with your brother and, or your sibling in general, and then you haven't seen them in like forever, and you do come back and see them, and they have this group of people just coming out to meet you at the same time as your brother, what is your first thing going to be? Oh, hey, he's still mad, and he's going to try and beat the crap out of me, or he's going to have all of them just beat the crap out of me and then eventually kill me. Okay, so his thinking of, hey, he's bringing 400 men to come see me, not exactly the most comforting thing in the world. So I completely understand for him being worried and just stressed and just really upset about what's going to happen. Okay. So he really thought that Esau was actually going to try and kill him, his family, and just, that was it. Okay. So he divided the people who were with him and the flocks and everything into 2 camps, logically thinking, if Esau attacked one of those camps, then at least he still have something. Okay. But he forgot. The one thing that he really forgot is that he forgot he was protected and tried to use human wisdom and schemes to protect what he had, to protect his family, to protect his livestock, to protect all of it. He was using his worldly human side instead of trusting the fact that God had already promised him that he's going to protect him. So then it goes into saying, Jacob said, and he's responding very well at this point with prayer and talking to God. And he said, "Oh God, my father of Abraham and my father Isaac," he said, "return to your country, to your kindred, that I may do you good." And this is what God had told him to do. And he says, "I am not worthy." So not only is he acting with humility and he's giving. Yeah, that was the best point. Just checking a note there. He is giving thanks to God, saying that he is not worthy, and he is literally asking at the very end of it, saying, "Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau." So that is one way of him just displaying that his faith is still strong in God, and he's literally asking God to protect him. But at the same time, he is still acting with his human brain, basically. Because he divided his camp into two camps to try and protect at least one portion of those, thinking that Esau might attack and actually kill one camp. Okay. And then he's actually being genuinely serious when he says, "For I fear him that he may come and attack me, the mothers with the children." And then he puts back on God, saying, "Hey, but you said, I will surely do you good and make your offspring as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitudes." So he's basically just kind of reiterating God's words and what he said that he was going to do. And he's really hoping that God is going to uphold that promise, basically. Okay. Then he says he stayed the night there, and from what he had with him, he took a present for his brother Esau, and he took all of these different animals: the goats, the rams, the camels, the donkeys, and he handed these over to his servants. And when he means by droves, they mean like waves. So he gave an example. He gave one servant like the 200 female goats, and then the next drove would have been the 20 male goats. The drove after that, or like I said, wave, would have been like the 200 ewes, and then the 20 rams, and they're separated into like I said, just the basic way I can explain it is in waves. So as they walked, Esau would encounter, the first one was just like I said, the male rams. Then he would continue going on, and then he would encounter the female rams, or the female ewes. Then the camels, and so on and so on. And every single time that he goes on, they're supposed to say, he instructed, said, "When Esau, my brother, meets you and asks you, to whom do you belong? Where are you going? And whose are those ahead of you?" And that's, he's talking about like the one that he just passed. He says, "They belong to your servant Jacob. They are presents sent to my lord Esau, and moreover, he's behind me." So what he's trying to do is he's trying to present these gifts to his brother Esau in little waves with his servants, and have his servants pointing back to the fact that their master Jacob is back there, because he is trying to kind of like butter him up in a sense, trying to ease that anger with gifts. So like, you know how you sometimes you give a gift to someone who's like really upset, and then if they really like it, they kind of tend to soften, and that anger just kind of diminishes away. Mainly with food. Like me specifically, if I'm upset at someone for something and it is not too serious, if you give me some kind of candy or I don't know, like my favorite, the chocolate covered cherry kind of things, if you give me some of those, will kind of just ease off, and I'll just like, okay, and then eventually forget about it. So that's kind of what he's trying to do. He is trying to butter up his brother by giving him these gifts, and by the time he gets back to Jacob, he is hoping that anger will have diminished a lot more, because he got all of these gifts prior to meeting up with Jacob. Okay, and she instructed each of them to do the exact same thing. He said, "You shall say the same thing to my brother to Esau when you find him, and you shall tell, moreover, your servant Jacob is behind us." And he thought, "I may appease him with the present that goes ahead of me, and afterwards I shall see his face. Perhaps he will accept me." So just like I said, he's trying to kind of butter up his brother so he won't outright want to kill him by the time he does see him. Okay. So after praying once again, he's kind of taking things into his own hands and taking these kind of casual precautions. Then he goes into wrestling with God. Okay, so the same night he takes basically his entire family. He takes his servants and his children, and he crosses them across the stream, and he leaves them there. And he goes back over where he is wrestling with God until basically morning. So he was at this point. He is wrestling with Jacob after. Wait, hold on. Jacob was left alone, and the man wrestled with him. So basically, God is wrestling with Jacob, not really the other way around. And the reason why he's doing that is because it's a sign of faith. Jacob left no retreat option, so if Esau attacked, he would be backed up against the river, which is why he put his family across the river there. And God right now is trying to get him to... how do you explain it? He's basically trying to get him to let go of his human strategies, his techniques. Okay, here I wrote this down. There is something to be said for every man doing his wrestling with God and then acknowledging God's greatness after being defeated. We must know we serve a God who is greater than us, and we cannot conquer much until he conquers us. So what God is trying to do right here is he's trying to get him to conquer over Jacob, and he's trying to get him to stop doing the whole, like how he divided his camp into 2 camps. He took his family across the river. He took all of these animals and he set them ahead of him. He was thinking with his human brain. He was thinking with like a man instead of relying on God, and that's kind of what God is trying to get him to quit doing. So the match was only evenly matched in appearance. Okay, only in appearance. Obviously, we know God is much stronger, and God could easily at any time, using his supernatural powers, overcome Jacob and won. So when you battle with God, you only win by losing and by not giving up until you've lost. Jacob lost, but he didn't give up until he lost, and by that he won. Okay, say the whole entire point, he's not giving up. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip socket was dislocated. And he's basically telling her, "Hey, let me go, for the day has broken." But Jacob said, "I will not until you bless me." And at first, Jacob didn't really want... He didn't start out wanting anything, but Jacob but God wanted Jacob to quit using self-scheming and came to take it by force if necessary. And this is God in his human form. Okay, and he said to him, it's like, what is your name? Obviously Jacob. And he says, your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. Okay, and that means God rules. Okay. Oops. So he knew he had lost, yet desperately wanted a blessing from this man. And then Israel is a compound of two words. Sarah, which means fight, struggle, and El, which means God. Okay? So, it says, for you striven with God and with men and prevailed. So, he won in the aspect that he endured through the struggle with God, not that he actually won. Okay? And then Jacob said, please tell me your name. And he's like, why is it that you asked my name? And he probably already expected him to know what his name was, and in a sense, Jacob did, because he says, for you have striven with God. I mean, that's kind of like an indication right there saying, hey, you just wrestle with God. And then that's when he blessed him. And then Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered. Now, Peniel means face of God. And then as the sun rose up, he passed Peniel, limping because of his hip. His hip is dislocated. Now, I don't know if you guys know much about anatomy or whatever the whole study of the body thing is. Even when you dislocate any kind of body part and you put it back in the socket, it's not always going to fit back correctly because it was popped out. You have to put a lot of force into pulling something out of its socket. So to put their hip out of a socket and back into the socket, it's not going to be as it was before his hip got dislocated. So he's still going to have a limp no matter what because of the fact that his hip was dislocated. And then that is the reason why the people of Israel do not eat the sinew of the thigh, that is the hip socket, because God had basically touched the socket of Jacob's hip on the sinew of the thigh, so the hip socket itself. So now because of that, because of the result of the wrestle, people don't eat the hip socket thigh part anymore. Let's see, what other notes do I have? I think that's all the notes I have. Yes, that is all of the notes I have. So that, like I said, is pretty straightforward there. And it does tell a awesome story, and it leads up into the next chapter where he actually meets up with his brother and he is rekindling his relationship with him. Like, I just closed it. I'm just going to go back to it real quick. Oops, come on. Yeah, where Jacob meets Esau, and then he goes into the rest of the chapter. I am really, really not looking forward to chapter 34 when it is the defiling of Dinah. Okay, that is going to be a tough chapter to go through. So I am going to put a censor warning or a trigger warning on that chapter because, like I said, it is a touchy subject. It does cover the theme of rape. So it is a little bit sensitive in that one. So that is chapter 34. So we do have one more chapter to get through before we get to that one. So when I do chapter 33, I will let you guys know again, just give you guys a warning that the chapter after that one is going to be censored or is going to have a trigger warning. So you guys, just so you know. So that is all I have for this chapter. oops, I'm trying not to get my cord caught. So this coming Friday, I am going to be doing a video on how I study the Bible. And it's, there we go, my alarm. And it's mainly because I figured out a new technique that has been really helping when I do my Bible study. And I really think it would be helpful for you guys as well. And I'm going to give you guys kind of like the whole rundown of my, like just in general how I do my Bible study. Like, do I do my Bible study in the morning? Do I do my Bible study at night? Do I read this book or this book? Yada, yada, yada. Like I said, that'll be all this coming Friday. And I want to do my video outside this coming Friday, but I will have to determine that based off the weather. Today it's really nice and sunny out. This coming Friday it might not be. Wednesday it's supposed to be raining, so it might not be a good day. Friday to do a video outside, but I guess we'll see. So, what? Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this video and the other video uploaded so you guys can watch those and let me know what you guys think. If you guys have watched this video all the way to the end, you guys might as well just hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share button. Don't forget to hit the notification, the bell notification button so you get you will be alerted to when I do post a video. Bible studies will be on Mondays, and then other videos will be on Fridays, and that will be starting weekly. This is my first week back, and I'm going to be really hard determined on posting every single day on Mondays and Fridays. At least one video. So, without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have an amazing week. God loves you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.